Only a day after being found liable for sexual abuse and defamation by a Manhattan court, former U.S. President Donald Trump has taken part in a combative question and answer session on the news network CNN. In attendance, prospective Republican primary voters. At the town hall, Trump doubled down on his claims of 2020 voter fraud, called the Supreme Court's decision to drastically restrict women's reproductive rights a great victory, and turned many of his liabilities into punchlines. Without explaining how, he claimed he would quickly broker an end to the war between Russia and Ukraine if he was re-elected president.
If I'm president, I will have that war settled in one day, 24 hours.
How would you settle that war in one day?
Because I'll meet with Putin, I'll meet with Zelensky. They both have weaknesses and they both have strengths. And within 24 hours, that war will be settled. It'll be over. It'll be absolutely over.
Do you want Ukraine to win this war?
I don't think in terms of winning and losing. I think in terms of getting it settled so we stop killing all these people and breaking down this country. Now,
lots to talk about, and for that, I can now welcome Liz Schilke. She's a policy analyst and joins us from Washington, D.C. tonight. Ms. Schilke, good to see you again. Now, what do you make of the town hall?
In some ways, it was absolutely shocking that I saw a headline that said injected pure Trump back into the conversation. But in ways, it was completely not shocking. Trump, we see it time and time again, does not respect what we consider these kind of traditions of debate, of moderators, of calling people nasty person right to their face. So it was a circus that Trump directed. So I think for him, he's going to think this is pretty successful. And I think it will not age well for CNN.
Mm-hmm. This was also, in a way, the first time Trump was reintroduced to mainstream media since he left office, wasn't it? He's been largely active in his MAGA bubble since. Will appearances like this one do much to increase his appeal to the more moderate Republicans, something that he was presumably trying to do there?
Presumably is a great word. And the question is, this wasn't billed as a rally. This wasn't billed as paid media where he's putting out a billboard or a TV spot. This was supposed to be about the news. And so, again, CNN really failed to deliver on its entire premise. So where do middle-of-the-road Republican voters sit? I mean, this is not like 2020. He will absolutely be contested in this primary. So he's given a bunch of fodder to his opponents. DeSantis's PAC has already come out, live tweeting the event, referring to his age a lot, which is a fun tactic considering that's his typical sword against Biden, saying he's stuck in the past, saying he's picking these wedge issues. So I don't see middle-of-the-road voters for Republicans being a part of who he captured. He captured today, he riled up his base. And as we know, primaries aren't about those middle-of-the-road voters. Unfortunately, they tend to attract the fringes in that base that can get most excited.
Mm-hmm. And he still, at this point, is the most likely and the most popular contender for the Republican primary nomination. Do you think that so many Trump-backed candidates did poorly in the midterms last year, that had at all to do with the fact that he wasn't present in the media? Or have people simply grown tired of the, election lies and the divisiveness?
I don't think him not being present enough was at all the reason that every single election denier in the 2020 midterms lost. He went out to rallies. He went to a rally in Pennsylvania and started name-calling DeSantis. He lost votes in that rally because folks are sick of him going after the Republican Party when he's not in need of the Republican Party's endorsement. As well, it's what happened in 2022 is the same thing that happened in 2020. It's a referendum on the policies. A lot of new women voters and middle-of-the-road voters are not interested in this. And I think we're going to see that play out once we get a little bit past the excitement of the minority base that he is able to generate.
Yeah. Some fact checkers last night said they didn't even know where to start with him. This was Trump, unfiltered, spewing lies and baseless claims. And he still refuses to acknowledge his 2020 election loss. Let's listen to what he said and then get back to you.
It's been nearly 2.5 years. Can you publicly acknowledge that you did lose the 2020 election?
Let me just go on. If you look at True the Vote, They found millions of votes on camera, on government cameras, where they were stuffing ballot boxes. So with all of that, I think it's a shame that what happened. I think it's a very sad thing for our country.
I'll never tire of saying it. That's, of course, not true at all. He also called the January 6th rioters great people and promised to pardon large part of them if he were to return to office. How dangerous is this rhetoric, Liz?
This rhetoric gets at the foundation of democracy in America. Even if I believe that this is still a minority of American voters, they're an incredibly active and incredibly vocal minority that is growing. And his rhetoric being the spearhead of this, we literally saw this play out in January 6th. People lost their lives. It's fundamental to our country that we believe in free and fair elections, and to have the highest person of one side of the aisle saying elections are stolen, you can't trust our system, and do something violent about it is incredibly dangerous for the future of the stability of the American democracy.
Mm-hmm. He also weighed in on current issues. When asked about the debt limit crisis, he said this.
I say to the Republicans out there, congressmen, senators, if they don't give you massive cuts, you're going to have to do a default. And I don't believe they're going to do a default, because I think the Democrats will absolutely cave.
Now, this is a huge issue in the U.S., and the country defaulting on its debt could have dramatic consequences for the global economy. Trump had previously rejected weaponizing the debt ceiling for political gain. Why does he seem to have changed his mind?
Because he has nothing to lose. He is not sitting in office. He is not an elected representative. So if the Republicans call the bluff or whatever, play chicken with the stability of the dollar and default on the debt, there will be significant consequences, and he'll pay for none of it. So absolutely, when he was president, lo and behold, he did not encourage this behavior. And yet now it's the best part of being a candidate is you can make a million promises and not actually be held accountable yet for actually delivering anything.
Mm-hmm. Any lessons here on how the media should treat Trump as the likely Republican candidate for the presidency?
There are so many lessons. The media, I thought we had this conversation in 2016, but is absolutely responsible for its role in platforming fringe on both sides. I'm not saying parties here, but fringe ideas. And it was estimated during the 2016 election, Trump had something like $2 billion worth of earned media. That's media he never had to pay for.
Yeah.
And it's also, we're so far out from the primary, and they're making him the front runner. Is this
election here, unfortunately, Liz? I'd love to keep this going. Talk to you soon. Thank you so much for your time.